Today I want to show you my 15 favorite frugal organizing tools that you can use to save space in your wardrobe, as well as making it look neat and beautiful in there. So I want to split this video into kind of 3 parts. So I want to do folding stuff first, and then hanging stuff, storage stuff, and maybe some miscellaneous stuff at the end there. So let's start out with drawer dividers, which are amazing for a multitude of reasons. They're super easy to use. You just put them inside your drawer and you let them size themselves up. So this comes in many different types and shapes, plastic to bamboo, whatever it is. What's really cool about these is that you're actually able to divide your drawers into different sections. Now, this means, first of all, that you can actually put one type of garments in one section and one type in another without mixing them together. But what I really like about them is that it allows you to use the vertical folds that I always teach you. Now, since these are the most space-saving ways you can actually fold your clothes, that means that these helps you save tons of space, both through space-saving rolls as well as file folding, which is amazing. Now, one little cool thing that you probably didn't know is that you can actually use these to create space vertically as well. Yes, you can actually split off, for example, one shelf, and that way you have kind of 2 layers instead of just one super tall shelf, you know. So it's not going to work for everything everywhere, but having that option is quite neat, to be honest. Number 2 is going to be shelf dividers. So these are very similar to the drawer dividers in that they help you divide your shelves into different sections. And like the drawer dividers, they also help you support your folds by standing next to each other so that they, well, essentially they don't tumble over, right? Now, shelf dividers are quite easy to use. You just stuff them onto the shelf and they sit there quite nicely. They're quite sturdy and nice and see-through in this instance as well, which is quite nice. For shelves, they're definitely a great way to go, especially open shelves. You don't only have to use them inside your clothing space like I'm doing right here, but they actually work quite well outside as well. So if you have, for example, a bookcase, these are great as well. Number 3. Shelf risers. What? Shelf risers? What is that? Essentially, like I showed you with the bamboo drawer dividers here earlier, it allows you to section shelves inside your clothing space into different sections. So these are amazing for tall shelves in particular, because it essentially gives you one more layer of shelves to work with in there. These comes in all sizes and shapes, and they work for multiple spaces. I like them for clothes because it allows you to get double the space essentially. Not for all clothes, but especially for smaller items, these are amazing. Also, they allow you to split your shelf in just for organizing reasons. So much like with the dividers, you can keep one area for example, your pants, and one area for example, your shorts or whatever. Number 4 is going to be organizing boxes. Yes, these are my personal favorites. These are amazing for a massive amount of reasons, but the big ones are going to be, much like with the dividers, they allow you to divide your actual drawers and shelves into different sections. So that's super neat and organized. Secondly, they also allow for a lot of support for your vertically folded clothes. Super easy to scroll through these and pick something out with everything falling out. Another big advantage is that you can actually take these out of your drawers with the clothes inside. So if you want to do laundry and fold your clothes, put them directly into the boxes and they are ready to go into your closet or dresser. Now, these are super cheap and lightweight, most shapes and sizes, but you get them unnecessarily expensive, to be honest. These cheap ones will do the job just fine. One thing that sucks a little bit about boxes compared to dividers is that they're less modifiable. You can use different sizes of boxes, but they're not as you can move them exactly like you can with the dividers. What's cool about them though is that once you're done using them, you want to put them away, they compact down super flat. And this can also be used on top of your clothing space or at the bottom. More on that later though. Number 5 is going to be the first hanging item, which is going to be, yes, hanging shelves. Dum, 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 dum. Hanging shelves, if you didn't know, is a freaking powerhouse of a space saver. Essentially what it does is that it takes part of your hanging area here and it turns it into a folding area instead. And as you probably know, folding clothes generally, if you do it right, will save a bunch more space compared to hanging clothes. In most instances, these are quite neat in that super easy to hang up, just instantly hang them up and they fall down. You can also reduce the amount of actual hanging space you use by taping these shelves up. You don't need to use all of them at the same time. On top of that, they're super easy to move around. They don't weigh anything almost. Pretty cheap to use. What I really like about these hanging shelves, they come in all sizes and shapes. Of course, they have their drawbacks in that they take up a bunch of your hanging space, right? But if you feel like you would rather fold up the clothes and you don't need that much space to hang your clothes, this can be a fantastic option for you to save even more space. Now, can you see a kind of thing going over and over again? Folding usually saves more space than hanging, and space saving folds are like the most space saving ones you can use. For number 6, let's talk about coat hangers or regular hangers. Now, what I recommend is this slim, non-slip hangers. There is absolutely nothing to not love about this. Oh, well, there's one thing. They're cheap. They don't take up much space at all, and they keep your clothes from falling off since they have this like velvet layer on top of them. I don't know how easy it is to see on camera. Now, this means that you can actually hang the clothes on and you can actually shake them around a little bit before they start falling off. The one downside with these hangers is, in the beginning especially, that they can actually leave some residue on your clothes. So especially if you have like a white shirt and then you rub that velvet, you can actually get some residue on the inside. Usually not a problem though, especially as you wear them. In the beginning though, you may want to hang them on a similar colored garment. For number 7, we have these cascading or like multi-layered hangers. These also comes in all shapes and sizes. What's really awesome about them is that you can actually fold your smaller garments onto them. So for example, if you have a bunch of skirts, shorts, even pants really, you can actually hang multiple ones on the same hanger. Now they will bulk out a little bit, but generally you will find that they save more space than hanging the same clothes on multiple regular coat hangers. Now they won't work for shirts and other like tops, sadly, but for your other items, especially smaller ones, even scarves, amazing to use. As far as price goes, you get them in every class. These are like extra cheap ones. Some comes with pegs that you can open up, slide the clothes in and close them up. Much easier to use, but more costly. These ones can even save you a ton of space on their own. They're kind of like a mini version of that hanging shelf, in that you kind of hang the clothes off them in more of a folded up style. For number 8, we have using an extra hanging rod inside your hanging space. Why use an extra hanging rod? Well, it essentially doubles your hanging space for shorter items. This won't work very well if you want to hang a bunch of dresses, because they kind of need a room. But if you have a bunch of shirts or other shorter items, using an extra hanging rod can essentially double your hanging space. They are fantastic. They're super cheap and easy to install. They come in a variety of styles. These are like tension ones that you just stretch out and then the tension holds them on. You get ones that you can hang directly onto your top rod, and you get ones that you can actually screw into the wall like a regular hanging rod as well. Now, the thing about the ones that you hang onto the actual rod that you already have is that you want to be a little bit aware of the weight that your first rod can handle so that you don't overload it. But these are amazing. It's my number 1 recommendation if you want more hanging space. By the way, I'm going to put all this stuff together in a list over on my website with links and all that if you want to get any of this stuff. If you do use these links, you actually help support my work, which is amazing. So thank you for that. So if you do choose to purchase these items, I usually have found what I recommend to my clients. So it's usually the best value for your money. You can check it out if you want to. It's organizing.tv/tools as well, if you just want to head over there after the video is done. Number 9 is going to be S-hooks and other type of similar contraptions. These are really nice in that you can hang them onto your hanging rod and you can hang your accessories directly from them. These are nice because they don't really take up much space, so you can put them into a corner or any like open little space that you have, and you can actually get some extra hanging space from using these. Now, this will only work generally for like small accessories like your belts, purses, small items that you can actually hang up and down. What's really nice about using these as well is that it's super easy to use, right? As opposed to using a regular coat hanger like this one, which you need to kind of like pull them off. These ones, you can just hook them directly off, right? Super easy to use. Love S-hooks. This one is actually for painting. I use these ones for closets. But these, they often look like this. For number 10, let's talk about hooks in all their shapes and sizes and different ways of hanging stuff onto them. Like I said, with S-hooks, these are really neat because you can kind of stuff these onto places where you have some extra space. So for example, think about the inside of your door. If you have a little bit of free room, just stick one of these on there. Or if you have like these ones, they go directly onto the door, actually. You have ones that you can screw onto the door as well, but I like these ones that are easy to remove in case you want to change something up. These are like command strips. They're quite neat in that they're glued on, but that little strip that's glued on, you just rip it off if you don't want to hang it on them anywhere. These are much like the S-hooks in that you can hang accessories or smaller item on them, especially the glued on ones. But they are quite awesome. They go anywhere. They don't just need to go in your actual clothing space. You could hang them like on the back of a door, on a wall, perhaps on the side of your space if you don't mind it being on the outside. But these are a lifesaver. Definitely check out the ones that are glued on or the ones that go onto your doors. You can get ones for your actual bedroom doors or bathroom doors as well. That way you could hang, for example, your towels on the back of your door. You can hang them on the wall, wherever. Possibilities are endless here. Now let's move on to storage space saving solutions here, both for inside your clothing space as well as for like outside it. Now, before we actually dive into the space saving ideas, I just want to mention quickly here, using some stuff like silica balls or like absorbent pads, this type of stuff that absorbs humidity can really save you for the stuff that is like in humid areas. Maybe you don't know, you're not entirely sure. Just tossing some of these in can really help you out. On the topic of that as well, cedar blocks are amazing for keeping pests away. These are just small little bricks that you put inside these storage containers to keep everything safe long term. These do run out eventually, so you sometimes need to sand them a little bit to keep them fresh. One of these is usually plenty for like a box. I like to put them inside my clothing space as well. They do recommend about 1 per cubic foot, so you do need a couple of these, but they're cheap and they will save you from moths and other pests. May not want to keep them directly onto the clothes though, or there is a little bit of oil in them, so perhaps put them inside a little tissue or something like that. Number 11 is going to be vacuum sealed storage bags like these ones. These are great for storing your bigger items. So think items that can kind of compress together. So your winter jackets, big puffy sweaters, your bedding, the actual covers that you use for yourself, they can compress down quite heavily. One thing you want to be a little bit careful with these bags is that you don't put stuff with like little embroideries and details or like super delicate things that can kind of crease and get damaged, because they will be compressed quite heavily together. But these save tons of space, but only use them for things that are in storage, because they're kind of a hassle to open and compress down again. Another thing that's really awesome about these is that since they're like so pressed together and sealed off, they are quite protected against elements on the outside as well. Usually they like can be stuffed under a bed as well, which is awesome if you don't want to spend the space in your clothing space or like anywhere else. Number 12 is going to be storage containers like these ones. And I know what you're thinking, space saving? How? Well, let me tell you. So these are amazing for like putting all your seasonal clothes or like infrequently used clothes inside. And while they take up quite a bit of space, especially inside your clothing space, where I like to put them is either at the bottom of, for example, a closet, or at the top of a closet. At the top of a dresser also works amazingly. They can even be used for like your primary clothes if they're on top of your closet. Now, this is a little wooden one. Usually the plastic boxes are the best ones since they're sealed off. This one can get a little bit dusty, plus they're not exactly protected if anything should get in there. But they do work quite well anyway. I really like these for seasonal clothes, because then I can take them, seal them off, and I can put them away for the season. That way they're kind of out of my primary clothing space, which in itself saves tons and tons of space. Then just bring them out when you need them, right? Or when the season is ready. While we're on the topic of storage boxes, under bed storage, yes! I categorize this on its own, because essentially under the bed, as long as you have like a tiny bit of room under the bed, it's free real estate. So these fabric ones in particular are quite nice, because you can like squeeze them together. They can go all the way down to a couple of inches, like 3 inches probably. You can find ones like 5 centimeters, something like that. These are quite nice because the bed is quite close to your wardrobe. So if you do need something, you can just pull it out from under your bed. So for example, if you have like infrequently used clothes, you can save the space in your actual clothing space and put it under the bed instead. Now, I will mention that these come in plastic as well. More expensive. I think these fabric ones will do the job just fine though. For number 14, let's talk a little bit about labels. Labels are amazing. Now, they don't save space on their own exactly, but what's awesome about them is you can put labels on your seasonal items, like seasonal boxes, stuff that you don't use every day. If you have a label label on it. It's much easier to remember where it is, first of all. And as an added bonus here, you can actually add these labels onto your organizing boxes as well. That way you can like identify stuff super quickly if you should feel like you need to. Big fan of labels. That way you don't like need to pull everything out. Just find what you need. And then you need to clean everything up, right? And maybe you don't clean it up quite as well, and then it takes up more space. So yeah, labels are awesome. And I guess supposedly you can technically save space with using them as well. Now, for number 15, it's not exactly a product that you can get in the same way, but number 15 that I definitely the strongest recommend of all of these is to learn how to fold your clothes up to save space. Now, generally that's going to be rolling it up, or it's going to be file folding it. Now, if you want to learn how to roll and file fold your clothes, you're in the right place. I have tons of videos on it here on the channel. If you want a free cheat sheet on how to actually do this with like step-by-step illustrations of all the most space-saving folds, head over to organizing.tv/free and you can get my cheat sheet right there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have tons more for you to check out. I'll link a couple of them here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.